Ok, let's go. I will try to give you brief stories of NethServer, and I hope to spend more time speaking about the future of NethServer. And probably I hope that in the afternoon, the roundtables that we will have will help us to shape NethServer together. Okay. Who? When I say we, I refer to NethServer in this particular context, because even if NethServer today is built by the community, it was, let's say, started by NethServer, by a small team in our company. So, when I say we are, I mean NethServer is a pool of whole-time system integrators, and we used to select what we thought was the best open source software, and usually install and configure those softwares for our customers. So we get a lot of experience on selecting quickly the best solution and configuring it. Usually we put together the pieces, select the software. Sometimes we contribute it back to the software we choose because we don't like to reinvent the wheel. We see it's far easier and better for the whole project to stand on the shoulders of giants. So start from where the others left and go on further. What we did, at some point, we understood that many of our projects were based on a product called NethServer. We were using other distribution at the time, but NethServer was becoming increasingly important for our business, especially for the voice over IP system. And it became critical, and we were good contributors of the project, so we knew the project really well, and we understood the development as stopped. So we had to decide how to move forward, and we met one Saturday morning at one of our houses, and went there with the idea to keep a final decision, what we should do now. And the good question we received was how to invest our time and our money on learning another product, another Linux distribution, as we did when we choose NethServer, or maybe be more ambitious and start developing another one by ourselves. All the pros and cons evaluated, we decided to start something else. I used the Latin expression "alle jacte est" that I discussed. We decided, and we decided to go on and never look back. So we decided to build our distribution, and we needed a name. It became NethServer quite easily, because at the time we were used to call everything Net in front of every word. For example, we had our internal knowledge base, which was based on Wikipedia, and so we call it Netpedia. And like that, the voice over IP system is called Net Voice, so we call it NethServer. Net doesn't mean anything, so NethServer doesn't mean anything apart from it's a server. That's just out of curiosity. Okay, we immediately focused our targets, and we identified 3 simple targets. That was a simple configuration, an easy troubleshooting of problems, and as fast as possible development of new features, with the idea that CentOS users should feel at home. They shouldn't feel a lot of differences from the build system we were working on. We tried to identify the areas where we had to work to reach our targets. That was a dynamic user interface, using standard software standard components widely used, and to keep differences from CentOS as minimal as possible. So we probably started, no, we for sure, started with the idea of an evolution. We wanted to move forward from NethServer, keeping the good parts and improving what was missing development in the latest years. So we kept the base on CentOS. We should have maybe possibly moved to Debian or other distribution, but we choose to keep CentOS because we believe it was a good choice. We kept the templates and events system that was still is the strong point of the SME distribution, but we decided to write a new user interface to be more friendly to the potential system administrator, that led to better configuration in less time, was more intuitive for the user. We decided also to switch to a modular product where you could choose which components to install and to configure and activate, not a monolithic system that made a fixed number of features. We could extend it and remove functions actually. And also we decided to use software that at that time was used by the majority of the Linux system. For example, we selected PostFix as a mail server, while on SME server they were using Qmail. Qmail was far less used, and so if you encounter a problem with PostFix, you could easily find more information on the internet for a potential solution. While for Qmail, for example, you need obscure patches and to find software on not well-known websites, and you probably, for our experience, encountered some hard to solve problems. Also, Qmail had bad, at the time, not so good licensing. So we decided to use only software that was widely accepted by the internet community as being stable and proof. Just like on the history, that Saturday morning was in October 2010. We were in Piobico, it's in inland Marche region under Monte Nerone, quite a beautiful place where we probably retreat every year in the zone to focus our, call it the net camp, like before, net camp, it's a camp for netists. And
net pizza?
Net pizza will be pizza probably, yes. From that idea, we spent the first year with one person. We is Davide Trinci, who is not here now, but we will talk to you later in the afternoon about the future of the interface. He mostly spent time on developing the new user interface. It was the critical part. It was the part was showing its age in SME server. And then we moved to step 2, begin substituting software with components more modern or widely used. For example, in May 2011, switched to PostFix from Qmail. It was never installed in Qmail NethServer. And okay, at the end of 2012, so 2 years later, we were ready to announce our first alpha. It was an effort we were carrying on in the background without investing a lot of resources because we were still using SME server. And then quickly we moved on to a final release in 2014, and then the speed vastly increased. You can see I highlighted the latest point. It was last February, February of last year, when we announced the first alpha version of version 7, the second major release of NethServer, and tomorrow, next month, we will release 7.4. But this is a much richer timeline of the thing we did, and you can see probably that we had 1 or 2 month interval when we release the alpha versions and 3 month interval for the database. We are respecting the golden rule of the free software, that is release often, release early. We try to release as soon as possible, and everybody can use and test the software as soon as it is ready. So, where are we today? We have a product, we have a distribution that is based on 3 or 4, no, there are 4 cornerstones. That is richness of features, which is stability, it's solid, which is simplicity, and open. Why we call it rich? Because it has a core that is full of base functions, but it's extensible and modular. We already talked about that. We can remove or add functions at will, and you can also build with external modules. There are some developers in the community that add functions to, for example, use WordPress out of the box or something like that. And we want to widen the range of installable software. We want to attract more developers that will build more tools for NethServer. So this must be easy to write. More of this later. Why it is solid? Because we use software that is used by an high amount of servers and system administrators in the world, because we use proved configuration, because we benefit from upstream, we benefit from CentOS and Red Hat that release well-tested software. Maybe sometimes even they did something that maybe we are putting too much on them, and we should revise our policy. Let's talk about that in the afternoon, maybe. And what about simplicity? The user interface, it can be improved. It will always be possible to improve it. Developer thinks that everything should be improved constantly, so we will probably more on that. Because we use the template system, that is kind of a preset of the configuration which permits to restore the system configuration at a stable point. But there are also a lot of things under the hood that permits us to reach stability, because probably the system of the templates and events permits us to do this stability configuration. And also the presets that we choose for the various daemons we use on the system are focused on stability and simplicity. And for example, also the fact that everything is connected with a set of dependencies, and so packages linear packages requires automatically everything that is needed. I say something like year of experience distilling carefully selected options in configuration files. So we spent a lot of time building, integrating system, so we knew what options to put in the configuration file, what defaults to choose, and something like that. And all that knowledge is in the templates we built. And last but not least, probably Alisso should have I already told to you, we are always being transparent. We need to be really open, not only for the source, only for the code, which is on GitHub under license under the GPL version 3, but also because the decisions we take are taken in public. I sometimes tell Giacomo, it's in the room in front of me, but we talk to each other writing in the forums, because everybody can read what we say. And I think that today is a good opportunity to increase our chances of working together. So, what are we going to do? Let's talk about, we have some ideas, because we think, and we always think that there will always be room for improvements. For sure, I want the core to be as robust as possible. I would like that we, and with me, I still mean the core team, which is at the moment formed only by people from the company NethServer, but I would really like to have external members in the core team. But as a core team, we should focus on the core, give a set of functions that it's really well proved and stable. Then, for example, exploiting the ability of Davide Principi, have a new user interface, and not also of Davide. We have a lot of gurus in the world of user interfaces, and I hope that we can build a better interface. And I would like to make it easier for contributors to develop software, to develop a node, so that we have a system that could possibly be even richer than it is now. I highlighted some of the areas I would like to improve, but we are here to discuss it together. That's my point of view. And maybe the first line, the log viewer, will be solved automatically by using Cockpit, for example. I probably Davide will show during the afternoon, I think. I would like to have better validation of the input fields, so that even if you try to put the wrong value in some field on the interface, you can't break the configuration. We should probably improve the reporting of the status of the system, so that the system administrator, with a quick view at glance, can understand if everything is going well or not. I think that we should adopt some user interface patterns and try to use that in many of the pages. One or two ideas could be the import-export in a lot of pages, so that small sections of the configuration can be exported from a system and imported to another one to make it faster to configure the system, a new system. We are sure that we need to use filters to drive the user to a final destination, not offering a set of options and put a switch on and off to reach a target, but guiding through the possibilities to reach the final desired target. We probably need to build other user patterns, but that's not my field of expertise, so I think that Davide would be much clearer than me. We for sure need to improve the mail server. We need to keep it updated to the standards. We need to add some functions to make it work better with other mail providers, like the big one, maybe Gmail. We need to focus on speed for some web pages that are too slow, especially when you have to repeat the same operation many times. So if you have, for example, need to add 10 firewall rules that are quite similar, you should be able to build that in a fraction of times what is now. And we probably need to have a fancier, nicer software center when the user can easily understand what is going to add to the system, maybe with icons. Probably we need to keep all the packages related to language to another page, or maybe we can hide them in another menu, so that because you usually install only one language or two, not all of them. We can also add some function to the core system. I take inspiration from other products I used in the past, because I said we were still are system integrators, but we are now more focused on NethServer. You can imagine that. So we use a lot of different products. One of the ideas could be a text-based view on login, so that when you switch on the system and you find yourself on the console, you don't find the login prompt, but maybe a guided menu that, I don't know, maybe it could drive you to change some part of the configurations, or tell you what to do, maybe how to access the server manager from another PC, from a browser, or something like that. I would like that our infrastructure focus on testing automation and continuous integration so that all the modifications we made to the software are automatically built and tested so that we can move some of the work we have to do manually to the machine and spend our time or more time building the software. I think it's not a so easy or small task, this one, but we will try to reach it. And maybe in the future we can finally get rid of the templated eventing system because we find a better way to express the configuration file, as I tried to explain some minutes ago. Maybe we can change the firewall, switching from shell wall to a different implementation, something new on the market, even at the low-level system with enough tables. I don't know. These are just ideas. I would like that you contribute to this list. This is my list, and we can try to have a better view of the future when we have a full list of ideas. So. Last topic of the day, maybe I don't know, because still we don't have any idea for the date. We will for sure have to wait for Red Hat and then for CentOS to release the next version. I think that it will be not soon. I think that we will have to wait probably a couple of years, but who knows? We will try to be ready, and my long-term vision could be that NethServer would be a thin layer above CentOS with a system configuration management software like Ansible maybe, and the web user interface like Cockpit. But who knows? We are too far from that. That's it. Do you have any question? I can go back to the lists. I can also.
So the suggestion for the firewall?
It is just a suggestion, but I can repeat that. On the firewall, did you ever reached out firehole? If it's only for firewalling, maybe it's a good solution.
I'm not sure I know it. Is that with a graphical user interface?
No.
It's a low-level system.
It is a wrapper outside IP tables, as always.
Okay, just like
but it has a quite plain and much more English-like configuration, and it could be quite fine to construct templates with that. But I repeat, if it's only for firewalling, because it's.
I think I remember it, and it has a small fraction of the features that Shell is offering now.
Yeah, that's why I was saying for firewalling and stop it.
We will probably, if we ever move away from Shell, we will probably do it that in steps, moving features one at a time away from Shell on another system. I don't know. It probably will be a hard task, and a lot of work will be needed. I don't know.
And the other thing is always on firewall. Probably Fedora implements another system, which is firewall D, if I remember correctly.
Firewall D at the moment has only a small part of the function we need, but it's being developed.
Okay.
Maybe it maybe become some kind of natural move to firewall D.
Yeah, it probably is going to be
it's one of the golden rules that is minimal difference with upstream. So if we can use something that upstreams already offers by default, we will probably choose that. We diverge from upstream only when we are forced to do. And over time, we reevaluate the choices we made and try to get back. Okay. That's okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.